Yeah, it's the same thing. Doing that.
We're live, baby.
We're live, baby. Okay, let me pull this up. I'm sorry, guys. We were late. We're here now. It's only 5 minutes late. Nothing too crazy. But we're here. Here we are. So I'm here with some very special guests today from a YouTube channel called Freelance Finance. They're in the description.
Guys?
Some of
What's
you,
up?
if you were here last night,
You guys spammed me. You guys spammed our channel.
My phone was vibrating off the table.
so, wait, you get a comment, you get a notification every time someone comments?
It'll buzz, yeah.
We still get so few comments that we
It's
still get the
still on,
notifications.
right, and we send it back and forth.
And then we talk about it for 30 minutes.
It was blowing up last night, and I looked, and I was like, "Who is this?" And I said, because the only one that came up was you saying Amit is legit. I'm like, okay, did I question that? Did I miss something? And then another one, and another one, and another one. I was like, they're coming out of the walls.
Well, I got a text, right? And from both of you separately with the picture of like Amit is legit. I'm like, what the hell is this? Because I was already like in dreamland almost, you know? So yeah, I woke up to a surprise.
Right? Yeah.
I woke up to a surprise of totally being spammed.
Oh man,
it was so great because we were trying to react to some video because it was like an hour into the stream, and I was like, oh, let's react to the Chicken Genius stuff they did. And then I was like, let's just spam the fuck out of them. Let's see what.
Well, guys, why don't you come on our channel and watch our stuff? How about that? Put some real comments.
Yeah, well played.
Yeah, so guys, I definitely recommend. I mean, if you subscribe to my channel, I think you should subscribe to these guys. I didn't know about them until they did an hour-long breakdown of Palantir, and specifically what got me hooked into them is they did a body language communication breakdown of CARP. And you know, I come across a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of YouTube finance people. No one has the technical capacity to actually make it entertaining and informative to do that type of a breakdown. And I think it was at like minute 30. I was in the car, and when they started spitting that, I picked up my phone. I was like, "Who the fuck are these guys? Like, who's these people?" And so, and then I got hooked onto the rest of the channel, and I was like, I really think these guys are some of the most underrated people on YouTube in the finance space. So if you subscribe to me, definitely check them out and subscribe to them. Now, Cameron says we'll sub when they buy Palantir. Well,
by the way, we had a video. I bought $25,000 of Palantir at $25 and change, 1,000 shares, and now it's worth what, $3?
Yeah, well, we hit 14. We're gonna talk about Palantir, but first of all,
so wait, that guy has to go sub now. That's it.
No, you definitely have to sub. I called you on some Palantir too, right?
Oh, there we go.
I don't think so.
No.
Actually,
okay, no.
Okay, so we'll
but
get into
I've been looking at it because I mean it's a great time to buy it right now. It's low.
What is it at? I haven't looked recently.
I think it was at 14 today.
Oh, it's been up. It was as low as what, $9?
I didn't pick it up at 9, but
it was at 9 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. Now it's at 14. But before we get to Palantir, why is it called freelance finance? Can you explain to people?
Freelancer finance.
Freelancer. What is the?
That's the second time I heard that mistake, by the way.
I think it's because on Twitter the at name is.
It's Finance Lancer because the other one was taken.
Like, all right, what is your brand? Why is it called Freelance Lancer Financer? What is going on, and what type of content you guys do? What is that?
I mean, we're both freelancers. You know, before Vitaly was, I guess, a YouTube star.
Yeah, a real estate mogul, as he put it.
Yeah, real estate mogul. Right. Before all that stuff, we were both freelancers. That's how we knew each other in New York, and we did work together. So
what's up with all this hair, by the way? I just wanted to bring it out, and I'm sure a lot of people in your channel watching you mess with your hair.
Like Samson and Delilah.
You know, I'm not going to show what I got, but I can't do that. Okay.
I haven't figured out. There's just too much of it sometimes, and I'm like, a hat just gets rid of it. But
leave the hat on. Stop messing with your hair.
I need to get into a ponytail like Carlos. I think that would be
my dream would be to rock the samurai. I don't think I have the balls to do it though. The straight samurai when you have the on the top of the head. Those guys are just.
I think you have the face for it. Like you could do it.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, when I was 20 years old, I had the beautiful locks.
Oh yeah, Vitaly had the locks.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so you both are freelancers. That's why you call it a freelance finance.
Yeah. We're both freelancers, and a lot of what we discussed was, I mean, the thing with freelancers is like your income isn't steady, so there is no boss, there's no steady paycheck, there's no way to plan for it. You just naturally have to be better with your money because you have to gap it out. Sometimes you can invoice and it might take 45 days. Like some projects I work on a net 30, net 45, and so it's just that mindset that we were in. And so when we were discussing what to call the channel, it just made complete sense that we're coming at finance from a freelancer standpoint where your income isn't fixed. And that's scary, right? To support yourself that way when you don't know exactly when you're going to get paid, even when you finish the work.
Right. Okay, very cool. It came at it from that perspective. It's interesting because there's not a lot of freelancers that can effectively talk about stocks. They're like YouTube channels are about like how to get more clients or how to get more gigs,
Right.
like freelancing stuff. But you guys are coming at it from like, let's go hardcore stock talk, but like
We want out.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point is that, by the way, we've been investing for a long time. It's not like we were only freelancers.
20 years, 20 years, yeah.
We knew even early on, once you get money, you have to use it for other purposes than just going out and going to bars and clubs. So even as 20-year-olds, we were both investing in some form. I was buying real estate since 23 years old, and Carlos was buying stocks basically at that age.
21?
Yeah. So we've
21.
always been investing our money and reinvesting our money. Like, I think both of us are always 99% or more always invested. That's why we have terrible clothes.
So heavy.
Wait, hold on. You both are 99% of your cash is always invested.
Always invested. Yes.
Well,
That's been
not
what,
99.
99.9, in fact.
For the past decade, that's how you guys have lived with
Past
like,
20 years.
Most of the money's been in the markets, yeah. Most of the money's been in markets
or real estate or crypto or something like that. Yeah.
It's hard to spend money you don't have access to. Sometimes you have to put barriers between yourself. It's like those guys hide crypto keys all over the world because you're like, I want to wait till this is millions, right? You sometimes have to do that to yourself.
Yeah, I'm not going to speak on Carlos's behalf, but I live on a month-to-month type of a thing where even though I have cash in the markets and all this, but at the end of the month, I'm trying to figure out how do I pay these bills? Because the bills, if you know anything about investing, they're the last priority. You want to pay the bills last. You want to pay yourself first.
Yeah.
Every finance book will talk about this. We live it. At least I live it. Carlos, you can speak for yourself about that.
Same deal.
Yeah, I'd rather go and find the money somehow and figure it out to pay that bill than take it out of like Tesla stock or Bitcoin or whatever.
Yeah,
right.
No, absolutely.
A couple comments. Juan, thank you for being in here. He says, yes, sir, they are enjoyable to watch. Shout out and subscribe to
Thank you, man.
Freelance Finance. Juan is a good friend.
Juan Valdez, that's awesome.
Whoa, hold on. I guess I should bring up the channel. I don't even see the comments. I should bring
let me do it here. Okay, there we go.
On comments, you can bring it up.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. You can do that with this. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris says, if Amit is Native American, his native name would be Upload 3 times a day. Okay. Vitaly covered calls, my friend. Vitaly, do you do options? Do you sell covered calls? Do you play
I do. This is not the market for it, but yes, I do that. When the market is high, you want to do it. When it's low, I actually did a bunch of cash secured puts, which is basically for example, I did it on PayPal. So when PayPal hit $100, I'm like, okay, I'll take $2,000, $20 a share. That means it has to go under 80 for me to get those shares. And even under 80, I want to buy it. So you can make some money doing that. Yeah.
You can also protect your investment, right? If you think it's going to tank and you don't want to sell, you can actually just buy some puts on it and make some money if the stock does tank.
Well, I'm not buying puts. I'm selling puts. I want to be clear.
No, I'm just saying as another strategy. That's another way you can use options.
Okay, so before we get into some stonks and some late night discussions, I want to talk a little bit more about the relationship that you guys have. Why are you two, you think, a good fit? I think you guys are an amazing fit for a channel. Why are you trying to build this brand together and have this brand be successful one day of Carlos and Vitaly?
Well, I could answer that. Yeah, go ahead.
I think we both independently, grinders, we both independently tried to start our own thing, and you have some success in one spot, success in the other. And I think it's just the longevity. I mean, we've known each other since we were 15 years old. You do need that. You do need some level of trust, especially if you're going to do something like this. You're going to build something this big. So I think for a number of reasons, it all came together. And we had lost touch for so many years, but it was literally Tesla stock and investing that brought us back. Vitaly called me about a real estate deal. We went in there. And then at a certain point, it just became like, we should make this something like more. We should make this more official. And when COVID hit, we were just talking about stocks all day, like literally all day.
I mean, it's like 4, 5, 6. I'm not even kidding. We were like girls on the phone talking about Tesla.
Literally, we had our own. It was like a private Discord of just me and him, just sending links and studying shit and looking at charts and looking for entry points. And then we just said, man, this is pretty funny. Like, it's pretty interesting. We're having a good time. Why don't we just record this, even as for posterity on YouTube, to like document these conversations during this pandemic, right? And if people find value in it, it's great. And if they sub and they like it, maybe we'll do more. And then it just started to become more and more important to us, I would say.
And you guys were in Tesla before the pandemic, right?
Yep.
So
2019 is when I got my first shares.
So when Tesla crashed March or April down to 300-400, it was at 945. I remember in February. How were the conversations going on between you? Were you guys crying against each other? Or you're like, what the fuck? Were this a buying opportunity? Like,
No. I mean, I think we were both scared that the world was coming to an end. So
Mhm.
we weren't smart enough day one to realize what's happening. Like,
Yeah.
because I have real estate as well, as you talked about in your channel. Thanks for calling that out. Appreciate
Yes,
it.
we will get into that.
So we were actually scared that because I have tenants, I have property, I have to pay the mortgages. So we sold some stuff. I sold a bit of Tesla, not a lot, but I did sell a bit of Tesla. I sold my Apple position. I sold a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Luckily, by April, we were like, okay, the world is not ending. So we started going like heavy back into it.
Well, the prices were so ridiculous. We were looking at like Uber at $15 or something, and you're like, this can't stay this way. We kind of had a moment where we said, if this goes to zero, there's like way bigger problems than our portfolio. Like there's massive issues. And so at some point, it's like maybe we should start kind of buying back in and kind of ignore the news, because the news cycle was kind of saying, oh, it's the end of the world. You just got mixed signals, and we just started slowly buying back in.
We tried to time the market like Meet Kevin, and we failed.
I just didn't know. I did the same. I had taken out some Tesla because it ran up a bunch in that January. So we were just that one day it exploded. So as it fell, I think I sold some at 700 and bought some back in as it was on its way back up, 500-600 on the way back, and then never sold a share.
And then never sold a share ever again, and only kept buying. Basically, so 90% of my position in Tesla has stayed consistent since 2019. Basically, that was when I was buying the shares. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but it fell as low as 175 pre-split, which is like, I don't know, $40 or whatever.
Yeah,
I was buying it all the way to 200 pre-split. At 175, I got terrified that I put all my money into Tesla and it was going to zero. I didn't sell though. I held it, and then now we know where it is, and I'm happy I held, of course. And Carlos held it too.
Oh yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so and during those conversations you guys were having, were you laughing with each other? Is that also where the thought was like maybe this could be entertaining to people as well?
Well, that's what gave us the idea. We're just sitting there laughing. I mean, my wife would come in and be like, "What are you
girls laughing at?"
Yeah, like what's so funny? And it wasn't just that; it was also reacting like if things were tanking. It was very emotional.
It was a YouTube channel without YouTube. Let me put it this way.
It was no
6-hour live stream.
Did your wives know that a lot of the family's net worth was like in these stocks that might go to shit? Like where they kept out of that conversation?
I'll answer. My wife doesn't care as long as she's like, she has her own business and hobbies. As long as we have a house, and I never put myself in that kind of position to fail. Basically, I don't go all in margin where if something happens, I lose everything. I don't do that. And the real estate is pretty secure, meaning that's a different stream of income. Dividend stocks, we didn't talk about that. Our channel doesn't talk about that, but we have that. So we have all these other ancillary ways that we're making money that we're not talking about. It's not all Tesla. Let me put it this way.
Yeah. Well, and at that point, I have some cash stashed away for a rainy day, and I told her, hey, we can survive, say 6 months or a year if like nothing happens. If nothing happens, and we have to stay home for a year, like we'll be okay. But then at a certain point, I was like, we might be missing a golden opportunity here, and she trusts me, especially when she started to see. It was funny because at a certain point, she started to see the gains coming out of that dip, and she was like, if I give you some money, and so I actually started a portfolio for her.
Can you 10x my money?
And she's doing fine as well.
Yeah. I think our wives are pretty trusting, and just good relationships, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about Palantir, and then I want to talk about Tesla and after Palantir, I want to talk about GameStop and AMC because I want to know your opinion on this stuff. So, Vital, you got 25 grand in it. I've got around 40 grand.
Well, I think it's 14 grand now, but yeah,
14 grand now. Yeah, it's not. Well, it was up like 3,000 the past week. Carlos, why don't you have a position in Palantir yet?
I kind of made a decision this year that I was going to. One of the reasons I was so successful in 2020 is I was absolutely laser focused. I said I don't have enough Tesla, I don't have enough Bitcoin, and I don't have enough Ethereum. And I started to do the math on what those returns would be. And I said, we even have a video, like one of our early videos. Bitcoin is a train that's leaving the station. It's not going to wait for you. And so while there was so many things I wanted to pick up, because that was the summer Kathy Woods exploded. Like she was, she was golden child. Yeah. And I said to myself, I know I'm going to be missing out on some other things, but I just don't think that anything's going to perform better than Tesla, Bitcoin, and Ethereum long term. And so 2021, I played and did some stuff. I expanded and a couple other positions. But then this year, I kind of had that same spidey sense. I was like, you're going to regret you don't have enough Tesla. You never have enough Tesla. And so I've really been trying to be laser focused on accumulating more more of the bigger positions, Tesla and Enphase. Vitaly's been a spokesperson for Enphase as much as he's been for Palantir. And when you look at the numbers, you just go, this is ridiculous that these companies are so low. And so it's just more about prioritizing the capital.
So that's a good answer. I think that segues into Tesla. How did you guys? And we'll get back to Palantir later. I'll give Vitaly's thoughts on it. How did you feel about the recent run up the past couple of days? Like, is it? So a stock split added the market cap of GM and Ford.
See, right? Well, this is such a fallacy to keep comparing it.
Fallacy? It's the truth. The stock split added $84 billion.
Do you know what Apple just added in the last? It had a 16% spike on a $2 trillion company.
I'm not talking about Apple. I'm talking about Tesla. Like, do you think this is sustainable? Are we passing 1243, which is the all-time high? Do you think correct me if I'm wrong, for them to get to be a $2 trillion company, the stock price has to go from 1,000 to 2,000. If they do a 10-to-1 split and it's $100 stock, for them to become a $2 trillion company, it has to become a $200 stock.
Yeah.
Right?
Very possible.
So 100 to 200 to me is like guaranteed. I mean, like, it's just like,
it's gonna happen.
Like,
wait, you're saying you're saying if they do the split for it to go,
and then they just have to
absolutely. Listen, I bought my first share of Apple at $14. That one share must have split. I must have had 100 shares by the end of it. It split 9 times, then it splits again and again. Apple is smart because they keep the price point between that $100, $200 range. It's just a good price. And I think
my point is,
do
you think when they split that it's going to easily get to 2 trillion because everyone's just going to?
I think it'll get really close if it doesn't hit it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll get there. By the way, eventually, meaning a year from now. I don't know if it's 6 months from now, but you got to look at the actual metrics of the company. I know everyone thinks it's expensive. It's $1,000 stock, $1 trillion company, but when you actually look at the PE, I think it's around 60, 70 PE for a company that's growing 80, 90% per year. So the PE, and there's a metric, I forgot what it's called, but Famous Investor, either way, we can put in a link later. But basically the metric is that if you do a ratio between the PE plus the growth rate, and if it's, I think it's called a PEG ratio, if it's under 1 or around 1, you have a good stock that you're buying and that's growing really fast for the future. So my point is that Tesla is actually valued pretty fairly or undervalued right now. It's not overvalued like everybody keeps talking about. And the fact that it went up 200 billion or whatever, and GM is worth this and Ford is worth that. They're not doing what Tesla's doing. It doesn't even matter what they're doing. So I wouldn't compare those things at all. I'd compare it more to like an Apple. I know the gross margins aren't the same, but I would still compare it to more like an Apple.
And in general, the markets just do not understand Tesla yet. They just still don't understand exactly all the hints.
Well, at 1 trillion, some people do, right?
Well, some people do, but there's still a lot of people that don't. I mean, I see even on like my Facebook social media, there's people that still hate this guy, Elon Musk, or they think that, the F-150 Lightning is going to be the Tesla killer. This is still a narrative. This is what we heard with the iPhone. The next Nokia phone or the next BlackBerry is going to be the
BlackBerry
iPhone
comes
killer.
out with it. Remember the keyboard goes away, the BlackBerry will come out. Oh,
I mean, it's just that's the way it happens. And so I don't think that the market fully understands not only what the company is now, but where they're going and the other businesses that they're in. And actually, this was a video I was working on that I was hoping to get out.
That's a good comment, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I think a lot of people are waiting for the $100 price.
Meaning it will be harder to move. Well, it will be harder to move in the sense that $100 million is not going to move it as much at 1 trillion as it would at 650. So that's true. As it gets bigger, it's gonna level out.
Yeah, but I see what he's saying, but I think the buying pressure would be so high. Remember, okay, so the stock market works this way, and everybody keeps saying that, there's all this volume. This is the way the stock market works.
Let's go, Vitaly. Talk your shit. Tell us how the stock market works.
Well, no. To his point, to his comment. Okay, let's say nobody is selling Tesla. Nobody wants to sell it, and it's $100 right now per share after the split. Next day, some guy goes, I want to sell it for $200 a share. But remember, nobody is actually willing to sell under that. So $200, someone puts in a buy order. As soon as it gets that one share, the market cap is $200 per share times the number of shares, $2 trillion. That's it. So what he's saying is not necessarily true. Literally, one person can change the market cap, even if it's for 1 second, by the way. I don't know how long it'll last. The point is it can hit the 2 trillion and then tank back to 1 trillion. Absolutely.
I mean, that's what with Apple. It got to 3 trillion and then it just went back, and now it's about to go back to 3 trillion.
Right. As long as there's some buyer and not enough sellers for that price, that's it. That's the market cap. It's the last trade at that price, and that's it.
Right. And these things will swell. I mean, we know that they're all going to be $3, $4, $5 trillion companies. Even if it's just from
Eventually,
inflation, eventually they'll get there. But I don't think that people really understand like the Elon master plan, right? And actually, a video that I wanted to do before I left was about Elon's master plan. One thing, for example, one thing the markets don't understand is that Elon, we see a distinction between Tesla, SpaceX, Boring Company, Neuralink. There's no distinction in Elon Musk's brain. It's only on paper. The divisions between those companies are invisible. Whereas, you heard that the SpaceX people designed like the interior of the Model S, or the Tesla people designed the interior of the Dragon capsule. So this guy himself is much bigger than even a normal CEO. And these companies, I mean, any one of these companies could be a $1-2 trillion company. I mean, with Starlink IPOs, you kidding me?
Do you think he would ever combine all of them and create that like holding company called X or whatever? Like, do you think that would be good for shareholders?
No, I hope not. I hope it never happens.
No, we want the individual companies, but I could see him doing it. Maybe combining Neuralink and Boring Company or something. Some of the smaller plays.
SpaceX, no, I think that'll stay.
I think SpaceX will be private, and I think actually for humanity we want it to stay private. Like, for example, I think I texted you that when what did he say? He tweeted something about SpaceX was going to be delayed a few months with Starship and Starlink because they were helping Ukraine. And I think I posted that to the Discord asking him, like, if you were an investor, what do you think would happen if this company was public? Would they tank on this news, or would they go up on this news? Having the company private eliminates having to have those conversations.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Crypto. When you said Bitcoin and Ethereum 2020, Carlos, you were like, this is a asymmetric opportunity for me to go deeper and heavier in. Believe it or not, you were one of a few minority that actually took up that opportunity, right? A lot of people didn't actually go into ETH when it was at 1,000 or Bitcoin when it was at 6,000. So
we went in at like $100.
$100. I mean, we're picking up
1,000.
Picking up ETH at at 100. I think the most I paid for an Ethereum was $400. There was a time at the end of the year.
I think I paid $1,200. The most I ever paid was $1,200, but my average is probably $5. Yeah, under $5.
There was a point at the end of the year in 2020 when Tesla stock and Ethereum were the same price. They were both like around $400. It was like pre-split. And I just remembered like waking up daily, which one are we going to buy today? And just back and forth, just buying them, just trying to.
Oh yeah, we had those discussions. Well, which one is it today?
What do we do? You just worried Tesla was going to take off, or was Ethereum going to take off? And I think the thing that gave me the most conviction is I think in 2020 is when I really started to understand market cycles, and that crypto is a currency and it's not a stock. When you really understand the difference between a currency and how it operates, no earnings calls, no CEO, there's none of that stuff, right? There's no PE, there's no price to sales. It's just a fundamentally different thing. And when I realized how market cycles actually work, as you study how gold got to the market cap that it is now, you say this is ridiculously cheap right now.
How high do you think ETH can get in the next 5-6 years?
5-6 years? I think
we'll
get 10K.
I mean, 10K is, and that's almost a no-brainer that's happening.
Yeah.
And I think earlier than the 5-6 years you're talking about.
So too.
But having said that, I would probably be 95% out of crypto once ETH. Remember, I've been around a lot longer in crypto than most people. Meaning like it's even been more than 4 years. We can go way back, but the majority of my crypto is from 4 or 5 years ago at this point. And if ETH hits 10,000, I don't think you'll see me almost anywhere except on an island.
He'll have nicer clothes. He'll buy a shirt.
I'll finally buy one shirt and a good hat.
He'll buy some of our own merch.
Yeah, we still can't afford our own merch because we live month to month, paycheck to paycheck.
Just scrounging.
By the way, guys, they have a Patreon for $1 a month, so you can
literally we're trying to get coffee, man.
well, we figure the Patreon $1, just get them in the door, and you know what I'm saying, like come in the door.
Like, you see the most basic element of business is like, I just need them to come through, and
it's like the dollar store, you know what I mean? And then you upsell them immediately.
And it's not even $1.
Like the movie theater, a quarter more.
Right, Patreon's gonna take 10%, then Stripe's gonna take
30%. I think it's 30% they take off right away.
No, Patreon takes 10%.
No, I mean total, so it works out to like 70 cents. Yeah,
it's actually a scam. Low-key.
You're right. It is going up. So guys, join our Patreon. It's $1 right now. Inflation is hitting us. It's going to $2
to the moon.
It's the moon coupon code right now. The coupon code is not going to expire.
Use the promo code Amit is legit for 20% off.
No, 20% higher. Amit is legit 20% higher
for all the spam yesterday.
That was great, bro. I loved it.
That was funny.
It was so good. But the problem is, Carl, I forgot he was in California. So it was like 9:30 to him. He was just up chilling.
Yeah,
I wanted him to wake up and see this shit. Like,
well, I was grinding on something last night. You know,
what were you grinding on?
What am I doing right now? I got a couple side gigs right now. I'm doing a couple of developmental sizzles. So
tell people what you do. What is your side freelance business?
The day gig is I'm an editor. I'm actually an Emmy nominated, like award-winning editor.
Oh, big shot here, huh?
Don't just say
it. I didn't win the award, so I got
a biography. What the fuck? Like, why are you in the Emmys? Why were you not slapping Chris Rock in the Oscar? Like, what is going on?
Yeah,
I started in the business. I started in the business 21 years old. You know, remember when we were talking about that, when we were having a conversation the other day? I was like, listen, I understand the startup mentality. At 21 years old, I quit my job at a security company and I started a post-production company in New York City, 2001, right around there. A buddy of mine
living in New York.
Living in New York, over a handshake, over dinner. We had dinner, and he told me about this new program that came out, Final Cut Pro, and you could like do some editing. And he was working at a major cable television network, and said, "Look, man, I think we can make money on this. We can do this." So we quit our jobs and started a company. And we had no capital, no investors, nobody. We were doing it with
Who's we?
It was myself and a guy that I went to college with.
Okay.
We studied sort of the same thing. And we started this company. We did so well. We were doing really well for 2 years, growing ourselves, started expanding our clients. And then 9/11 happened and the entire business just shut down. There was no production anymore. But a good thing about that was suddenly these networks came to us and said, look, we're not shooting anything for over a year. Like, that's it. Everything's shut down. So what can you do with the material we already have? And this is what sort of birthed their YouTube social media departments. How do you make content out of what it is? Well, we can play it and fast forward and put graphics on it and make something funny and and so this was like, and this is 2000, 2001. I mean, I remember living with my folks. But you understand, we made a ton of money over 2 years. And then within 3 months, I'm back home living with my mom, sleeping with the German Shepherd. Like, I have $900 in the bank. And I'm looking at myself saying, like, I literally had this conversation. I need to invest myself out of this. And with $90, I bought Apple at $14. I bought some Sirius satellite radio. I said, I'm going to invest 10% of my entire
American dream. I hope people listening to this see like really get that. Like,
$900 was all I had to my name. And I said, I'm taking 10% to start my investment career. And from that $90, that's where I am today, to the point where, I ended up buying Apple at a good price, got Netflix when they were still shipping DVDs. I mean, that's what bought me this house,
Yeah. And that $90, it's not about the actual $90. It's like the mentality that 90 gave you about like learning how to put money in places, right?
I can't tell you how much that hurts. If you've ever been really high and you fall, I mean, it hurts. We were on top of the world and it was no fault of our own. You want to talk negative catalyst. That was, it was one of the biggest ever. And I said to myself, I don't know, 21, 22, I said, I can't let this be my life. I've got to do something. There's got to be a way. And my friend, one of my closer friends was investing at the time. And my aunt was saying to me, look, if you're starting to make money, she had made a lot of money in the 70s and 80s, investing in like Dow Jones companies like Home Depot or whatever it was. And that bought her house. And so she said, you really need to do this. She just kept drilling it into me. And so that one day, somewhere around Christmas, sitting in my parents' house, depressed, I said, I'm just going to do this. 10% going in and never look back.
And the video stuff you do, so like now when you say Emmy nominated, you work for production sets and like you make their shit look amazing, basically.
I'm freelance. So I jump back and forth. At the time I was working for like one of the prominent cable companies at the time, freelance, just going in every day, creating promos, trailers. A lot of what I got nominated for, like, you guys wouldn't know this, but there's actually awards for promos and commercials. And I would get nominated for a lot of those, win a couple of golds, kind of raises your stock. I ended up getting an agent who then expanded me out. I got into advertising. I did 4 years at Ogilvy and Mather, learned a lot about advertising. And this was, you're talking 2004 to like 2005 to like 2010, like when YouTube was just blowing up. I mean, they were figuring out how to monetize the internet. This was like before YouTube was had ads.
Right.
You also name drop because he worked on some big Netflix comedy specials that you guys all saw. I don't know if you're allowed to tell them.
Yeah, that's another thing. More recently, like I did the 2 Joe Rogan comedy specials on Netflix. I did those.
Whoa, no.
There we go. Name dropping. Boom.
He's literally on my wall. You see him right there? That's the comedy special I cut.
You did the promos for them, the shit that plays on Netflix before the
No,
thing.
I cut the special.
No, the
You
actual
cut the
specials.
whole Joe Rogan special.
Yeah, the first one he did was Triggered, so I cut that one. And then from that, he did another one, Strange
Cut
Time.
meaning you're Carlos. You're in a room. Joe Rogan's people give you the footage. It's on your Mac, and you're making sure it's an enjoyable program to watch.
Yeah, what people don't know is that those comedy specials are shot sometimes over a couple of days. So for the Joe Rogan ones, he did 4 days. So you have the entire show 4 times, and you cut the best versions of the jokes. Sometimes you reorder it. Sometimes things didn't land right, or he was like, that joke sounded better. Or
did you get to talk to Joe about this, or did his people kind of help you with this? Or did you have full creative control?
Yo, you got Carlos. I'd love to work for you, by the way. Blue chairs. So someone wants to already work for you.
Send a link to your reel or
join their $1 Patreon, so you know it's real. So
you got to join the Patreon, the $7.99 version.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for those, I usually get the first pass. Like especially now that I have a couple of these under my belt, they trust me more, and they'll say, "Hey, just take a pass at it and just cut what you think is funny."
They meaning like Netflix's production team? Like who's they?
Well, it depends. You do have 2 bosses on that, right? You have the client, which would be someone like Joe, who's going to have his own input. And sometimes he'll just text you, or he'll send a note to the producer, who'll then relay the message to you. Hey, this joke didn't really land, or let's get rid of this, and kind of restructure it. Then I'll do that first pass. And then sometimes for the end, that's when they come in and sit with you. You guys sit down and you watch the special together, and they want to watch it with you and feel it. So I've done supervised with Joe. I did Chris D'Elia's special. That was one of the most recent one. The Tom Segura one. I did those 2 at the same time.
What was the last one? You can't tell the big.
The very last one was our boy Louis C.K. That one that came out in December. That was me.
So you made a name for yourself in the comedy editing space, because these are big legends. Like
it's crazy. For a guy who's like not funny at all. I certainly get a lot of comedy specials. But yeah, that was the last one we did in December, and he was cool. He was really cool to work with. But that's like one part. Those are like, most of those are side projects. A lot of what I do is like network TV stuff. So the last show that I finished was a show. It's airing on CBS right now called Beyond the Edge. It's like the celebrity version of Survivor. 9 celebrities in the jungle, competing.
Okay, I want to get
hold on. Once you name drop, by the way, Carlos, you don't go to some crappy TV show. You just stick with the Joe Rogans and you move on.
Well, I mean, but I also did a 2018. I spent a year cutting a feature documentary with Robert Rodriguez. That was gonna. This is what's crazy. It was
film director for anybody who doesn't know.
Oh, like Dusk Till Dawn. What was his big? Well, Mariachi.
Yeah, well, we think we're talking to film people. They're not. Some of these people might not know these directors, by the way.
Yeah, Robert Rodriguez. He did. He's done a lot.
I remember these are Palantir folks. We're talking to Palantir.
So they would know who Quentin Tarantino is.
They know, Quentin Tarantino.
How do you guys feel about this whole 10 film legacy that he wants to have? And he did 9 of them. So do you think that's like a cool thing, or you think it's kind of corny?
I mean, it sounds good and like when you say it out loud, but
yeah,
I think when push comes to shove and someone puts 50 million in front of your face, he's going to make an 11th film. That's what I think.
No, I think he's a true creative, bro. I don't think
he's creative, but once again,
creatives care about that legacy. That 10
I was going to say that. That's a really nice. I mean, that's a nice legacy to have. But if he's a creative guy, you don't just shut off the creativity.
Yeah, you don't shut off.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
I don't think so.
How do you say I'm done expressing myself? Right? Like every time you finish something, you learn something else about yourself that you want to express. It's never ending.
It's like Amit. He says, "Today I'm only going to do 10 YouTube videos."
Then he does 12 because he's like, it's a
Bro, I put out 6 articles today, and they're good quality. It's not bullshit articles. Like I was just typing my ass off early in the morning.
But that's good. You're on your grind. That's why people.
Well, I wish you made Palantir Daily more like a general stock thing, because
then it wouldn't rank. It wouldn't get any.
That's possible.
That's the problem. Like no one gives a fuck about my thoughts on Roblox. Now they will one day if like Palantir does well. Like, oh, this guy knows how to pick stocks. But right now, I stay in my lane with that.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's smart.
No, it is smart. You're sniping.
Yeah, I also can't have
a sniper, not a shotgun.
To make content around other stocks, because like that's why I love Palantir, because they invested in 14 other SPACs, so there's so much content to talk about that, and the leadership has all this philosophical stuff. Then you've got, the general trends of how people think about it. There's just so much to talk about every day.
Yeah, no, I agree. There is a lot. That's the cool thing about the stock market. Like when we first started, we were talking. We can make a whole channel on Tesla. Obviously, you can see all these channels just on Tesla.
It is just endless content.
It's just endless. That all the news that comes out about these companies.
Right. Now, I want to ask you a really quick philosophical question. And both of you, Vitaly quit his job, for those who don't know, when he was 24, I believe. He was working as a software engineer. And then what's his name? And then Carlos also quit his job at 20, as he just said, or 22, and he was building a production studio. For someone who is also at your age, 20 years ago, who is thinking of quitting some of the day job stuff and just going all in on a journey, can you speak to the people who are watching, like, what mentality does it really take to do that? Because we could all talk about this and be like, oh, it's like, quit your stuff, just go do it. But like, Carlos, you're talking about you're depressed with your parents. Yeah. Vitaly, you had some shit going on, and you both made decisions 2 decades ago to get you to a point right now where you're in a pretty decent financial position. Can you just talk a little bit about like why you were able to do it and why so many people couldn't do what you did?
Well, at least I'll start with my journey. So I started reading about real estate, not even film. I wasn't to film, but real estate at a young age, 18, 17. And I always knew that when I get a job, the only reason I'm going to have that job is to save enough money to go buy real estate. Like I always knew that was going to happen. So when I got my first job, I think it was 21, whenever it was, 22, I already forget, it's a long time. I stayed there 2 years, saved enough money to do what I'd said what I was going to do, buy the first house. Meanwhile, while literally tearing up and crying most of the time, by the way, which I don't talk about much, but I couldn't take living in a corporate world, even programming, which I still enjoy, but I just couldn't do it. And so then bought my first house, quit the job, and then that history continues of investing. So it wasn't that scary because I think we.
I'm here. Don't worry. I'm here.
It wasn't that scary, and Carlos can speak to his behalf, but I had a good family that I knew if I failed, that I could always land on some, like my parents' couch. Like I always knew I had somewhere to go. So I guess having that thought in my head, I went all in basically on my business. Really,
you went all in on yourself.
It's on myself, right? And it wasn't
and yourself
scary.
Was real estate you would equate Vitaly to real estate 20 years ago.
Yeah, I was doing film too, by the way, at the same time.
Right.
But I always knew that in order to be financially free, if that's what we're all going for, you need to invest. So whether it's stocks, crypto, or real estate, I chose real estate because I understood it better. Like I understood if I rent this out, I'm going to get some money for it. Do you know what I mean? It was like a simple understanding. So It wasn't like this mass windfall of money. But when we did the first property, I had a partner who was even younger than me. He was 20. And I think I was 24, 23. And basically, when we did that first property and we made some money, we were like, oh, my God, people will pay us to live in the house so we can do this again. So then we went on just like a rampage.
Real quick, let me just say good night to Sean. He said nighttime, boober, bedtime, early library day. Good luck in the markets tomorrow. Good luck, Sean, going to the library. Hope you read
good night, Sean.
And some stuff. Sean is one of my best friends on the channel as well. All right,
from Twitter.
Hey, from Twitter. Okay. So you make some money at 23, 24, and then you're like, oh shit, I need to start reinvesting this money.
Immediately, right.
But when you quit at 24 from the software engineering job, which was paying decent from what I understand, you're a software engineer. What was the, like, you could have had a very nice 9 to 5 for the next 20 years.
Oh no. I could have been a millionaire in that respect, because software, as we know, I was working at Bloomberg too. I don't mind sharing that. Bloomberg is a big company in the city. It's financial software. I was getting paid really well, 6 figures, even as I had a software engineering degree. You pay them well, those people.
Right.
And I saved up enough money, bought the house, left, didn't care about it at all. Went to $0 immediately, went to literally nothing for probably 2 years, made nothing except some rent.
Well, how could you do that is my question. Like why?
You have a structure. That's what I'm saying. I always felt I can go back to my parents. If I failed at everything, I always felt like I can go crash on their couch. They wouldn't say no to me. So it was like, what is it called? Like when you have something to lean on? Like that's what I felt I had.
A kickstand.
Right.
Yeah. And they were immigrant parents too. They came here with nothing. It's not like they were millionaires, by the way. They literally came with $500. So everybody in the comments, put it back in your pants. And
who thinks right?
Yeah, they literally came here with nothing, by the way.
You didn't feel like you were going against your parents' dreams, that they were immigrants. They came to America, and now our son wants to be.
They thought I was an idiot. They thought, what did we just spend all this money and educate you for all this time for? It was like a waste of time. Yeah.
Okay.
But you got to follow your dreams eventually, right? And it's better to do that when you're 23, 24 than when you're like 40 years old. I don't want to be like doing that when I'm 40. Right now, I can't do that.
Your kids, wife, right?
Yeah.
Carlos, what was your mentality when you quit at 20 and then 9/11 happened? Like, how did you get from the depths of the bottom to where you are right now?
I'm sorry, were you talking to me?
Well,
I had it on mute. My wife called me.
When you quit and you started your movie production studio, made a lot of money, then 9/11 happened. What was your mentality to get out of that? I guess is my question.
I think that I've always been the kind of guy that would rather regret something I did than something I didn't do, if that makes any sense. So I've always been kind of like, go for it, because like I'm the guy that if the plane's going down at 30,000 feet, I want to be behind the wheel, even if it's going to crash. I want to be the guy driving. You know what I mean? And I gotta say, I've also had, or anyone that's had the experience of having a boss, you probably had horrible, evil, cruel, vicious bosses that relished and got power, or just got so much enjoyment in the control that they had over me and my life. When I can go to vacation, when I can take a day off, and I don't know, I'm kind of a rebel in that way. Like, I just don't want anyone to be telling me what to do. You know what I mean? And so I'd rather make the bet on myself. And I figured at that age, I was 21. I was really unhappy at my job, even though like Vitaly, I could have been, I mean, I was really high level in this security company. It was a small company. We were in talks about becoming a partner, but I realized that then the business would own me. And I just didn't want that. And also,
yeah, the money meant nothing.
Yeah. And the thing is, yeah, they were throwing money at me. And at that point, I just felt like I'm selling a piece of my soul if I do this. And I'm also the last in my family, right? Like I have no brothers, nobody else. So I feel like there's a certain responsibility I have to create a legacy that's greater than myself. And I don't have my parents to lean on. On the contrary, I do feel like at some point I'm going to be responsible for taking care of my mom and possibly my dad, but most likely my mom. And I said, I just have to do this. Like, if I just keep grinding, I won't fail. I know I won't fail. It's just this belief. And you listen, you know what I'm talking. You both know what I'm talking about, where it's like, I'm not going to fail. It's not going to be pretty, right? It's going to be choppy.
Yeah. Well, we don't care if it takes 10 years. Fail. The 11th year is when you succeed. Yeah, as long as you're grinding forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. You need that mentality right away. If you don't have that at 40 years old, it's so hard to get. Like right now, I couldn't get that mentality. It's impossible because there's too much responsibility, too many mortgages, too many kids. Yeah. I would never be able to do it. Thank goodness I was stupid enough when I was 20 something to just say, I don't care about money. But honestly, was that.
Listen, but also in your 20s, you just have so much runway. There's a certain point, your 40s, whatever, 50s, that plane takes off. You just have so much runway that that even if you get off course, you can correct it. You can still fix it. And so I'm a big believer of that. I'm not saying people to go quit their jobs and become a painter.
Definitely not.
But I'm saying if you have a plan, if there's something that you really want to do and you've worked out the numbers and you know that you can make this thing work, go make it work. Just go do it.
Just go do it. I love it.
No, and I wanted to ask you guys, because that is the freelance mentality, right? Like, that's just like, I'm gonna do it myself. I'm gonna figure it out. Even though the world's throwing money at me and I'm in some really amazing positions, I could have got a nice consulting job outside of college, and I was just like, this shit is boring, bro. Like, why would all my friends were so excited to get some internship?
Be happy.
You're excited to be bored the rest of your life? Like, I met some friends the other day. They were at a bar and they're telling me their life. And every Friday, it's just go to the bar after the 9 to 5 from Monday to Thursday. And I'm like, so you're not building nothing. You're not like trying to do something. It's just like, get the money and then go to the bar and buy $40 drinks. And I'm like, okay, that's cool for like a year. And then
yeah,
what?
a year, a summer.
Right.
But that's no way to live. That's no way to live. It's like a way to die. You know what I mean?
I wonder if you can ask your audience. I mean, I don't know. What are they all younger? Are they in a position to do this? What are they doing? Are they all working 9 to 5s? I don't even know who we're talking to, like, really.
I mean, I think the majority of them are 25 to 34. A lot of people are working 9 to 5s, I believe.
Put it in the comments. Don't they have comments they can put in right in?
Yeah, put it in the comments. Put in the comments if you are trying to start your own thing, whether that's a business, side gig, whatever, or you're just like taking money from your 9 to 5 checks and putting it into the market and trying to achieve financial freedom from that perspective.
Well, here I have Dave Does. I really appreciate this conversation. I'm at that low, and hearing this gives me some much needed confidence.
Dave Does. Go do what your last name says.
He's at that low, and hearing this give me, dude. Where's that, Dave? Just do
Blue
it.
chairs. I'm trying to work 24/7.
Telling you, just go. Well, I'm not giving financial advice, right? This is not financial advice.
It's not financial advice.
26 and teaching high school reading. My sister is a teacher as well. My sister just got upgraded to an administrator. She just passed her exam, so she's getting a nice fat raise on that.
My sister's a professor too. She's a biology.
Love it.
So yeah, for Quentin, 26 and teaching, a 40-year-old, no kids, no wife.
I love that. So basically a 30-year-old. Yep.
Time lapse car guy. Basically,
some of these names are hilarious, bro.
Time lapse car guy. Yo, he does time lapses, obviously, Bruno.
That's so awesome.
But you know what? Like, even if you're 40, by the way, like I'm still grinding in terms of a different way. The different way is now I worry about real estate, the properties I have, the investments I'm making. So at any age you can do this. I'm just saying when I was 22 or 23, it was just easier to say I don't care about money. At 40 years old, I can't say that, right? It's a little bit harder when you have all this responsibility. But the guy who's 40 years old has no real responsibility. He's basically a 20-year-old.
Oh yeah, he's going.
He can grind the same way and do what he wants, you know?
I mean, the other thing too is when you're in your 20s, I do feel you should be trading your time for money. And then at a certain point, you will trade that money for way more time on the back end, right? So
you're going to have to give up that money in the short term, a lot of it.
Short term, yes, but that time, is actually your most valuable asset when you're in your 20s. It's a certain level of energy and a lack of responsibilities.
That's funny. Read that out. Love to fly. Pilots.
52, no kids, and a wife that likes nice shoes.
Oh, so you're broke.
Is this Pilot from our Discord? Is this possible?
Like nice shoes, you're broke.
I'm 19, made 500,000 wholesaling electronics. I bought Palantir because of a myth. Don't say because of a myth. The SEC is going to come for me.
You gave him financial advice.
Dude, then you got to come to our channel because we're saying buy Tesla and Enphase, which are much more high quality. Let's get into that.
Yeah, let's talk about Carlos, you're in Enphase, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the thesis on? We know the thesis on Tesla. We know the thesis on Palantir. Enphase, I don't think gets that much love in the YouTube world. What's the thesis on Enphase? Why should people check out that stock?
Carlos, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I think as an investor, when you identify a clear winner in an industry that's in the bottom of an S curve and their financials are sound, it's a no-brainer. I feel like it's a no-brainer.
Can you explain what an S curve is? Anyone?
Well, the S curve would be.
Why don't you share that picture? Do you have that link?
Yeah.
Can we share stuff on here?
Oh, actually, if you just look up like S curve, adaptation S curve, and then click images, you'll get an image of what that is.
Well, there's a share button. Why don't you just you know what you're doing already?
Oh, but we need permission. Yeah.
Let me see. I believe this. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I mean, look, Enphase was on my radar. While Carlos finds that. I have solar on my roof, okay? And I convinced a couple of people like Carlos and another buddy of mine to buy.
There you go.
To buy solar. But real quick, underneath that solar is something called a microinverter, which almost every system needs. So every solar system that's being installed for the next 100 years will need something called a microinverter or an inverter in general. And Enphase is one of two companies, basically a duopoly in making these things, okay?
That's the part of the system that turns the DC energy that your solar panel creates into AC power that you can use. Your solar system cannot function without it, right? And so there's predominantly two different companies that do it, but Enphase, and look, we've done our diligence. If you go to our channel, we actually talked to a solar installer who's making money on this and giving us his assessment from doing this for several years, expertise, talking to customers, clients, commercial, residential. I mean, and they all saying the same thing. Enphase is the winner. They have the best product. Even put it like this: they're not the cheapest, but people will pay more because of what that company's how good that company's product is. When you see that, and if you saw the S curve and you realize where we are,
show the S curve and explain, because I'm not sure, to Amit's audience, we show it every time on our channel, every week, basically.
Yeah. Right now, there we go. Okay.
So if you look. Okay, so you see the takeoff. You see how that one says takeoff? We're not even really there yet in terms of the adaptation of solar. Like I think 1 or 2% of the homes in America have.
It's around 1% right now of all homes across the United States.
Right. People aren't using solar. It's not even 1%. Like it's not so low, right?
It's around 1%. I did the math actually. Okay. It's around 1%.
Right, so 1%. That means you have 99% of the roof space in America still available, and this
commercial.
And what's the company's market cap right now? Enphase?
25 billion.
25 billion. So you're
Palantir.
You know what I mean? And so you're saying they're basically one of two companies, and this number two company, they do have an install base, but predominantly the installers and more people are happier with Enphase systems. So when you identify that, and then you look at where we are in the S curve, you realize that this is $800 billion, $600 billion company in the making.
Yeah, the stock price is 200. It's actually run up a lot, so I wouldn't be like jumping in here. But this is something.
It was $7 in 2012. It
Mhm.
stayed flat for
Doesn't that
5
look a lot?
years.
Doesn't that look a lot like Tesla's curve? 10
It
years.
does.
That's still, and now it's starting to awaken.
The thing is, it's starting to awaken. So people think they've missed a run. They don't
Mhm.
understand that 1% of the world, or less than 1%, the world, this is a world company, have less than 1% of solar installed. This company installs 40, 50% of all the inverters under all the panels you see everywhere in all the world. What happens when it's 20% is covered by
my
solar?
God, just imagine. They won't
Like,
be
we're
able
not
to
saying
make
100%. We're saying think in the future in 5, 10 years when 20% solar or 30% solar or 50%.
And they're also making
This
batteries,
company is a 10x in the making, in my belief, in my opinion. Not financial advice, but everybody should check it out immediately, today, tomorrow, and do their due diligence, of course.
Or just, on our channel, there's a lot. We did a lot of videos. We've done videos that are like the bull case on Enphase. We've compared it. Like I said, we spoke to actual solar installer and asked him, what do you think? Just educate our audience on how
What was his argument?
I mean, his argument here, tell him, Vitaly. It's basically
his argument is who's going to win? Enphase.
Enphase.
Okay. We literally said, who's going to win?
Yeah, we literally asked him. So
he's
who's
like,
going to win?
He said, if I have to pick one, it's Enphase. But look, if you want to be a safe investor and your audience only buys Palantir, they're probably not all safe investors. Let's buy Enphase and SolarEdge, which are two companies that have 80+% of the market right now today.
Right.
Those two are going to win. So anyone who thinks that they're gambling here, this is not a gamble. This is basically, you're just waiting for the day you can cash out. That's what it is. Yeah. Not financial advice. I have to keep saying that.
And Tesla too. Tesla is also a play on that, right? It's not a profitable part of their business, but it's an important part of their strategy.
So does Tesla compete with them at all in any sense?
Well, no, not really. These two literally own 80, 90% of the market. Tesla, I forgot what he said, but maybe it's like 2%, 5%. It's really small, actually.
And they lose money on their installs, actually. Tesla actually loses money on their installs.
And they can't take that part seriously just yet because they're so constrained on the batteries and everything and dealing with the cars that they're not going to be a real player in solar for a while, which gives Enphase more time to develop its tech and become bigger. So I think we're going to have these multiple winners: Tesla, Enphase, SolarEdge. These are good bets for the future.
Interesting. No, I think when you told it to me when we were in your Tesla and you were telling me the story that they make the thing underneath the solar panels, and then I'm looking at and they're like the only ones, and then on the macro, solar panels have, as you said, 1% adoption only in the States, right? Not even globally. That's when I'm like, oh shit! Like even at $200, like Tesla at 500 was expensive, but Tesla's at 1100, so it's just like,
well, Tesla's actually at wait, hold on. Tesla right now is it 5,000? What's the actual price of Tesla right now? It's 5,500.
Yeah.
It'd be 5,500.
Yeah. So everybody thought Tesla was expensive at 900 and 800.
Yeah.
It's $5,000 a share.
Pre-split. It's actually $5,000 a share. Yeah.
Yeah. So just so I make it clear, my prediction for Enphase is that this is over $1,000 stock, in my opinion. That's why I'm not selling any shares until it gets way up there. And I've been buying since $20.
Now, the story you just articulated about Enphase, there's some fundamental macro S-curve type of dynamics along with the actual technology they're creating with solar panels that I can logically understand what you're saying. I don't get what's going on with AMC and GameStop. I don't understand what logic is going on there.
None.
What is your take? Are you guys just like, yeah, we're riding with the apes, or like this is bullshit? Someone's going to hold the bag and it's going to be sad?
Oh, it's bullshit, and I'm not holding any bags.
I wrote it a little bit. I made some money on AMC, but I understood that it was completely just retail against short sellers. That's all that was.
Did you make money in 2021 or recently?
Whenever that first pump. I didn't catch the first pump when Wall Street's Bets was trying to catch the short sellers off guard. I caught like the second bump.
Okay.
But I mean, I put way too much money in and then sat there all day watching it. And I was like, look, I'm out. It was like, I don't day trade, but I bought in at like 11 and I sold at 430, made, I don't know, 15, 20% of my money. And I was like, I'm good. I'm good. But that is, I don't know, that's just.
Do you think this? So AMC's up 60% in the past 2 days. Do you think why is that happening? No. Yeah, AMC's at $30.
Yeah, I don't think it's sustainable. No, I don't think it's sustainable. This is, like I said, I think this is just a bunch of retail investors looking for a way to use their money to stick it to these short sellers that they feel are gaming the market. I mean, that was a big reason why Robinhood is in such negative sentiment right now. You really got to see a lot about how the market works. When they disabled the buy button. I mean, come on. That was just
Well, the one thing I like about the Palantir audience, that's I don't think they're really GameStop focused. I hope not, because we really got to invest in high quality. So at the end of the day, if you're not buying high quality and you're gambling, literally, that's not what I do, and I don't think that's what Carlos does. We look, we might take
old now.
a
I'm too
sliver.
old now. Yeah. Come
No,
on.
but we might take a sliver. We played back when the market was pumping. We played BNGO, Bingo. I don't know if you heard of this stock. We played
That
some
was a
Aqua
good one.
Bounty. We played some stocks because we saw opportunity, but we were never putting in a lot of money in order to, like, it would be crazy. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think we were always buying relative quality that people keep saying is overpriced, of course.
Yeah, because if you buy quality shit, like, you can sleep at night. Like, all right, Enphase, it's down now, it'll come back. Tesla's
In fact, when it goes down, I get super happy, by the way.
right.
Because then you go in and you buy.
No, I actually go heavier. When it was down again, I bought more. Like, I'm just going to keep buying every time it dips. I have no problem with that. It can stay in the same range for a couple of years. If I think my goal is that 4-figure stock, why would I want it to go up? This is what I keep getting back to. Even Palantir. I know everybody's like, oh, it's at 10. I wish it stayed longer at 10. Is this controversial on your channel? I don't know. Stay longer at 10 so I can accumulate, you know?
Well, because you know it's coming. You know that you don't have all the money to buy the entire position that you want today. So you do need some time.
Yeah, I think you need usually a year or two to build a really good position. And to get some confidence in that position too. If everything just shoots up right away like it did last year, you really don't get to build that position you want, you know?
How do you go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know like the average size of your audience's portfolio, but there's something that happens when you're invested, or either your vested capital or your gains equal your yearly salary. I think that's when it starts to hit you where you're going, right? So if you make $80,000 a year, when you have $80,000 sitting in stock, that's when you start to say, this is insane. And as you start to get multiples of your yearly salary, you just invest differently. I don't think you make the same kind of moves that you do when you're first starting out.
Yeah. We have spec plays too. I just want to be clear. We do have some SoFi. That's a spec play. Yeah, I see SoFi Technology. So what's your...
I was actually before we got on this, I was working on that.
We have a video that we're working on. Carlos is going to drop it tomorrow, folks. So definitely check out our video for SoFi.
And we're looking to do the other video we're looking to do. We're trying to start a series where we go how to retire with blank stock. So maybe we'll do Palantir as one. How can you retire with Palantir stock? How many shares do you need? What do we think the market cap's going to be? How many shares do you need? And how much time do you need to buy this number of shares and retire, say 5 years or 10 years at the, starting now, right? I think it's an interesting, like, mathematical, fun thing to do.
A thought project.
So
yeah,
we did talk
a thought project. Yeah.
Well, we did talk about SoFi.
Take on SoFi. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to answer the question here, but basically SoFi I think is a real winner, and I have put in a decent position. It's not my biggest position, but I did do a decent buy of it all the way from 15 down to now. My last buy was $9.30 or something. And the reason I'm so bullish on it is because they have something called Galileo. So I don't know if your audience knows about it. They have an AWS. Hold on, Carlos is spot on. I view gains in terms of years of my life. There you go. Good one. But SoFi has something called Galileo, which is like the AWS for fintechs. So imagine you're a new fintech and you need the back end office, right? You can try to do it all yourself, which is actually really complicated.
A lot of paperwork.
A lot of paperwork, and it's a lot of regulation too. Or you can just go to SoFi and they have a stack that they're building for this whole back end. And they bought that company a few years ago for, I think, 1.2 billion or something. Smartest move they ever made. Because now I'm not just buying a bank. I am buying basically an AWS for fintech. That's the way I'm seeing it. So
that other companies will need.
What does
that mean? AWS is cloud compute. I know the whole world needs cloud compute. What is this?
It's the back end for all the apps. So when you go on your little TikTok, guess what they're using? They're probably using AWS.
Yeah.
When you go on Facebook's Instagram, maybe they're even using some AWS besides their own servers.
Of course.
Everybody's using it as a back end for certain things. Like you're going to do your startup. I don't know if you talked about
We're doing it on AWS. Yeah.
Yeah, AWS.
Or even like when you invest, say in M1 or Robinhood, when you invest, you put the money in and Robinhood will handle the trade. But then there's the back end where the money actually moves and then they actually file all the correct paperwork, all that stuff. Like, nobody wants to do that. That's what these companies, Robinhood has a back end. And I think, doesn't Robinhood even use
I think they have their own. No, I think Robinhood might have. They have their own.
It's that equivalent, right? And so in the banking space, it's the same deal, right? So SoFi actually owns the company that the back end is done on, which means if you're another bank or another small bank you want to start up, instead of building all that yourself, it's just easier to just give them, give Galileo a small fee. Well, every time you give Galileo money, SoFi makes money.
Yeah. And so right now, if I were to say, are you dollar cost averaging? We actually said in our video, you should probably dollar cost average if you like this stock, but they have a real problem right now with the loan moratorium,
Yeah,
right?
that's a
So
tough.
May 1st of this year, it will probably be extended where all these student loans that they have on their books, it's just dead weight until there's some resolution of this. So
How does SoFi make money off those loans, off the interest, right?
interest, it's the
Yeah.
interest. And now they can't do that. They're not charging anything. They're
They're
not getting.
they're not taking payments.
Yeah, so they're going to be, they're not going to fail because they actually make a good amount of money from these
Mhm.
other businesses that they have, but it's not helping them in any way because I think 50% or 40% of their book is these loans. So it's a lot of money.
But even as we said in the video, as an investor, that just tells me that it's going to be held down. The price is
You
going
have
to
a
be held
year.
down and continue to just keep buying. So by
Yeah.
May, right? By May, when that doesn't happen, because right now they're lobbying the Biden administration to try to push this thing through and force at least the people that can pay to pay. Is his point, right? Just
Right.
the people that can pay. The ones that can't, that can pay a little, get them back into the game, right?
Right.
But if they don't, I expect that to be some real negative pressure on the stock, and you'd be there and just scoop up some shares because nothing fundamentally has changed. They're not profitable. They're not profitable. They're barely profitable according to like
No,
they might
no,
have
they're
barely
EBITDA positive, but they're
Yeah.
not profitable company.
Right.
They're still,
So there's still time. And again, if this is going to be a long-term play, I'm not going to put all the money that I want to put into it right now. Have other investments that I want to make. And so that being the case, I'll just keep DCAing in. And if in May, I'll be there. If somebody wants to sell me the shares in May, I'll be there,
Do you guys
Well-
have any thoughts on this? Have you considered a long dated debit spread? I don't even know what a debit spread is.
I don't know what that is.
no, we don't get that fancy with options. Honestly,
Yeah, that sounds like
$10
a parlay bet,
$20.
yeah, well, we don't do that. I actually don't. If I'm making a bet, it's more like, let's say I'm doing the covered call. It's because I think it's not going to go that high. So I'm taking a risk that I'll lose my shares. And when I'm doing the cash secured put, I only do the simple stuff with options. I don't go crazy with options.
What does this mean? What does bank charter mean?
So they have a bank charter, and he's right. Also, they have a bank charter. So they waited, I think it was like a year. Everybody was waiting for this catalyst of a bank charter because they weren't an official bank. They were using another bank in order to do all of these transactions through. Now they are the bank. They got the charter. The SEC had to approve it. They have this. So this is one of the other catalysts that for the next year, for the next couple of years, this is a big thing. What this means, bottom line, is that when a bank charges interest, right? Imagine you had another bank doing all of that. They got to get a spread, right? So they're paying some other bank that money because they're not a bank charter. Now they are a bank charter. So they don't have to give that spread over to somebody else. They get to keep that money. So you're talking about an extra percent, maybe 2% on their books.
So in the loans business, I mean, this AWS thing, this is interesting, but like
Galileo,
long term,
yeah.
they've got to make money off loans. Like that's what's going to make the stock price.
You can buy stocks, you can buy crypto on there too.
Is someone using SoFi to trade? Like, is that?
Yeah, they're building that up much. Yes, they are.
Someone's doing it. Robinhood, everyone's getting in the game. So,
Okay.
And
But
they're
like,
bringing
loans is the
options.
thing. Like when people want to take a mortgage, they might go to SoFi and they're going to make.
Yes.
well, for me, the real long-term thing is that, and I was talking about this on the podcast, when I got my first bank account, I got my first bank account at 20 years old. I was with Republic Bank.
Right.
And I stayed with that bank until they got bought up by HSBC. So, but if they didn't, right? And even HSBC. So let's just say it was basically one company my whole life. So I started off, I was a kid out of school making no money, and I'm putting in my few $100 a week. But as I started to make money, where did that go? That money stayed in the bank. So if you're catching these young kids now when they're making no money, they're in 10 years, they're going to be the dominant generation. When they need to get a loan from a bank, you want to have a history with your bank because that helps you to develop a relationship, right? So if that bank for you is SoFi, and they already know you when you're looking to get a car loan, when you're looking to get a loan for your home, or whatever it is, you're going to go with them. So,
but I got my bank account with Bank of America. What is SoFi doing that's so different from like Chase or Bank?
I'll make it simple. I was about to bring that up. So you're young. I'm surprised you went to Bank of America, but let's say you wanted to trade a bit of crypto. You wanted to, have some stocks. You wanted to take a loan. SoFi makes this all easy, all in one app, one little place. And I'm not saying Bank of America can't do that, but
it's not the same.
It seems like they don't even want to, honestly.
Robinhood, Coinbase, or you can just do it right within the account. It's also, when you look at it, it's a really simple interface. I think Robinhood was smart because they sort of gamified.
Mm-hmm.
So
I get confetti when I buy Palantir.
Yeah,
they
actually got some heat for that because they were saying, you're making it like gambling, or like the sounds that it makes when you buy.
Well, SoFi does something like that too. I do buy stocks through there a little bit, not a majority, but just to use the platform and test it out. I like to see what I'm invested in. So they give you points. So whenever you buy some stuff or you just even log into the app, oh, you got 50 points or whatever the hell that means. But apparently
Right.
they knock off prices and they give you like free fractional shares. They give you stuff for free that they're trying to gamify and keep you in the app. And I could see that working with more and more people because like I have a Wells Fargo account. That's my big account. But do I like Wells Fargo? I have no desire to stay with Wells Fargo forever until if SoFi comes up with something comparable, like with business accounts and doing things that I need, I will leave Wells Fargo in a heartbeat for one of these fintechs, right? So I would gladly leave for SoFi or PayPal or somebody else who gives me everything I need. Right now, the banks have an advantage that they give you more if you're a professional and you need like multiple accounts, you need business accounts. It's a little bit easier with big banks, obviously.
I also in September was able to see Tom Brady's last game at the SoFi Stadium.
Yeah, SoFi Stadium, right?
So I mean, so I'm there at the stadium, and every
I don't know if I like that. That could be a waste of money. I'm not sure about that one.
I always wanted to know what people thought about. Do you think a name or like a patch on a jersey? Do you think that's a waste, or you think that's like a legit form of marketing?
No, it's legit.
Well, when you're in the the thing is when you're in the stadium, like this doesn't go out to the live feed, but you're getting a commercial for Spotify during the breaks whenever it's quiet. They're playing they're playing everywhere you go. It's just SoFi. All the branding is everywhere. They've got to be making. It's that brand recognition, right? It might take 5 years to get them, but when somebody who left that game sees SoFi again, you're going to connect it.
You could think what kept Staples relevant is Staples Center.
Staples Center. Now it's what is it? The Crypto.com arena? Is that what it's called? And they sell it.
What do you guys think about this one? Have any thoughts on DraftKings?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a Kathy Wood pick, but I've never went into it. Gambling is big, man. That could work out, but I'm not sure.
What are your thoughts on Kathy Wood? How do you feel about your girl who was right on Tesla before everybody?
She's sexy. I like her.
And she makes money. I feel for Kathy. I feel like we had a video where we talked about her once too, where I feel like she's now becoming a victim of her own success. You know, she's had this amazing run up in 2020, but now that everybody knows what she's doing, I feel like people are taking out their either hate or jealousy on her stocks, and it's just messing with the natural order of things. When she was able to invest quietly in the background, you saw the gains, right? And now I think there's an active, I don't know, a campaign to not have her be that successful. So I think it's harder for her now. But I still think she's one of the most intelligent, well-researched, just smart investors of our time. And I'm glad
I think she's going to be right. That's what's going to happen. She's going to be
right. If she's right, why aren't you buying ARK if she's going to be right?
I don't need to buy ARK. In fact, what I do is
buy the company, because it's easier to buy the companies in the.
I don't think she's going to be right about Aquabio. No, Aqua Bounty. She has like small little.
But like the top three, you have to agree with Zoom, Teladoc, and Roku. You have to agree if she's going to be right that those three, each of them have to hit. Like there's
I don't think so. Okay, so let's say Tesla does what we all think it's going to do, and it does a 3 to 10x in the next decade.
That wipes out everything.
I mean, how many losses of everything else can that wipe out by itself?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, what if Teladoc, which is a great company and not profitable, but growing, I actually looked at the numbers recently, growing, I don't know, 50, 60, 70%. They're growing pretty fast. What happens when they actually execute in 2025 and are profitable? What happens to that stock that she's been buying at dirt cheap prices now? I'm just saying that eventually she's going to win. The problem is, will her ETF survive until she wins? And I think it will. I think there's enough people there it might shrink, but then it'll balloon again in 2025. That's what I think is going to happen. Mm-hmm. But I don't believe in all her picks. So what I do is I buy Coinbase. That's Coin. I believe in Square a lot. I'm very heavy in Square. She had PayPal. I don't know if she still has PayPal, but I have a lot of PayPal. Obviously Tesla. It's a no-brainer. Teladoc. I have a bunch of Teladoc. So there's certain things I believe she's doing, and that's what I'm investing in. She did the research, and then I do my own research, and then that's what I buy. I don't want her ETF.
Sometimes we would just go through her portfolio and look for stocks and kind of just look them up on our own and say, well, what's the market cap?
In fact, 2021 was pick Kathy's stocks and try to invest in the penny stock there.
Yeah. we found some good ones, like BNGL was in her portfolio. Yeah. And we made it 3x.
Actually, no, that wasn't, but it was in the news. It wasn't because she had Pac Bio, whatever. I learned too much about this stuff.
It was the competitor. Exactly. All right. So around that time, but we made a 3x in 3 days. That's crazy.
Yeah,
and we're not like traders.
Those days are gone, by the way.
Yeah, we're not traders. That was a raging bull market.
All right, let me share this real quick before we get to the next topic. So first of all, an hour long into the stream, 140 people here. I would love if you support this channel, please definitely support this channel as well. Let's get them to 2.3 or 2.4 tonight. I think here's what you guys should do. You should subscribe today. Check it out. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. That's kind of what I do with channels. I subscribe.
Money back
if I like
guarantee.
a couple bit. Yeah, and I think 99% of you are going to stay subscribed. And if you don't, then unsubscribe later. But definitely check them out. At least click on one video. Keep it in your watch later. They were happy. They were gracious enough to join us tonight. And the reason I'm so bullish on their channel is just because I love the chemistry between them. And I don't think I ever told you guys this. I started a YouTube channel with my boy David, who he's one of my best friends to this day. And we started a podcast pop culture channel. Like we were trying to be like Breakfast Club or some shit. And I know what it feels like to run a channel with another person. There's a lot of ups and downs. You guys get into arguments sometimes about
all
this,
the time, man.
Like, because you guys have like
Honestly,
we
cut out 2 hours of arguing.
Dude, the number of times he says, "You don't really love me."
And he's serious about that. He's serious.
I'm not even kidding.
He's projecting. He does that. I cut all that stuff out. I'll upload a supercuts. I'll upload it. If we get to 2,400 subs.
Well, that's why that's why I like YouTube, because first of all, you get to meet all these cool people like all over the place. Like we would have never met you and all the fans and all the people who listen. It's like crazy. Honestly, it's crazy stuff.
Oh, Mike Myers. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, subs. Look at you guys. Thanks a lot, man.
Okay.
Don't forget $1 Patreon.
Yeah, someone said that, but
All right, Michael Myers. Ooh, good name.
Salsifredo. That's a great name too. That's a great name. That's something that we would discuss on the Discord. Honestly, like the wheat fertilizer shortages. I don't personally know about that, but I see we have channels in our Discord where we just talk like general stuff, and sometimes ideas for episodes come from that.
Yeah. Also, guys, I'm gonna keep talking about these, but sub to Chris Patel. I've shouted him out many times on the channel. Chris, you and me probably do a live stream later this week. Shout out to Chris, because Chris.
Well, hold on. What goal did he drop? I totally missed all the goals.
So you guys, we were talking, but he was talking a lot about. He was talking with people in the chat about loans and options. There's like a whole side conversation around options going on that we're not paying attention to.
In between, the admit is legit. They're spamming you now.
But what I was saying is, so I know what it feels like, because for anyone who's watching, we got 129 people watching this. When you're building something with someone else, you guys are aligned on a vision, but sometimes it's hard on how to get there. And me and David, the best thing about David was like he let me kind of run the boat, obviously, because like I'm always like a natural leader, and he just fit into his place. And like we had a great vibe, great chemistry, but there were some things that he just like wasn't always most efficient at, some things here and there. And sometimes you got to put that shit to the side, because like friendship is before everything. Fuck the channel. It's like he's one of my best friends. So I know what it feels like, and I know how hard it is to like schedule the time and make sure you're okay, and then do the meetings and all that shit. So it is difficult. It's easy for one person to do it because I just put in front of my camera and I don't have to worry about shit. But two people, there's a different dynamic. Both people have to be happy with the content
on opposite coasts too.
Yeah, he's 3 hours away, so it's crazy.
Time difference. It's like it is tough. But this is where I go back to, like, I literally know this guy 30 years.
Oh my God, 30 years.
Years. I turned 45 this year, so yeah, it's been 30 years. So
you turned 35 this year, Carlos?
45.
Oh, 45. Okay, got you. You said 45.
I'm still 23, so don't worry, guys.
Those boyish good looks.
That's my thing. Is and then outside of the production, the time, the logistics, the chemistry of two people has to be good, or else it doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff there. So definitely check them out. Okay, now I'm going to say a word, and this word is going to start a little bit of controversy between you, because this is one of the points that you disagree with, and that word is Facebook. Facebook is running right back up. It was at 185. Now it's at 230. Vitaly, you have a bull case on Facebook.
I've been buying the dip, baby.
Carlos doesn't agree. So first of all, what's your bull case on Facebook in like a minute, in 60 seconds? Why are
that's hard. Okay, this is like an Elon.
Like, there's the moon. There's the moon, and we're going to it.
Well, okay. I'm gonna make this simple. There's a lot of haters of Facebook. These same haters are the ones that use Facebook, and they say, "I don't use Facebook. I use Instagram." Dude, you're using Facebook products. Okay, Instagram, WhatsApp. Like me and Carlos are texting, by the way, all the way on WhatsApp. In fact, he told me to use WhatsApp, and I can't even message him anymore, but he hates Facebook. So that's my point, that there's a negative image, but still people are using the products. Hold on. Let me finish my shit.
Now you got it. You got it.
Okay, so we're using those products, but that's actually not my bull case. Like that business is amazing. It's going to keep growing, and it's going to compound. And Facebook still is 30% compounding. It's kind of crazy, right? And it's tanking. That's what's amazing here. But my bull case is that the metaverse is not here yet. but Oculus is an actual device that I bought, and I started using it even with the kids. They love it. I love it. And he walks away. What's the point?
He's going to buy Facebook stock.
Do you leave all your fucking guests?
He's putting up posts.
All right, so Oculus, if nobody's been using it, please try it out in your chat, even if you hate Facebook, because it's such an amazing product. And the fact that it's only like $300, you don't need to tether it to a computer like everybody else, by the way. I did my research on all the other VR systems.
It is funky, though.
Right now it is, but they're the only...
It is what?
No, it's a little clunky. You have to figure out how to use it.
Okay, I mean, but it's
I
also
agree
like
with
a freaking.
Have you seen the first cell phones, by the way?
It was like holding a baby.
Look at them right now.
Hello.
No. But my point is, like, this is the beginning, and Facebook is spending $10 billion, which everybody considers a waste right now, to win a massive space. And don't get me wrong, Apple's there too, maybe Google, but we're talking about that this is going to be a massive industry, right? Just like the metaverse, not only gaming, and I know people keep talking about gaming. I feel this whole thing is developing to education, to meetings, like the Zoom stuff that'll happening on.
I remember those.
My point is that it's growing bigger, and yeah, there you go. That was a cell phone back in the
guy's
day.
holding a laptop to his face. Right now.
So everybody's not thinking about how Facebook will monetize the new metaverse the same way they monetize the Web 2.0. They're basically going to do ads. But now they're selling games and hardware, so they're going to make their profits from there. So that's my bull case. And I actually have a video in it. If anyone cares, they can search VR Vitaly and find the Facebook video that only 5 people have watched.
You call yourself VR Vitaly because of virtual reality? Is that why?
I like that name. I changed it. Yeah, VR Vitaly. That's right.
Okay, so your bull case is metaverse will happen. Ads will be in the metaverse. Yes. Not yet. Ads will be in the metaverse, and those ads will be distributed through Facebook centralized platform, which means they will monetize the shit out of the metaverse.
You're going to want safe places to go. Even companies will want like meetings and meeting rooms. They're going to want to use a safe product. And whether you like it or not, Facebook provides that sort of a platform.
Now, what if you're wrong? What if people don't just assume, like, open mind? What if people don't give a fuck about the metaverse? Like,
well, that's why I have the real business still behind me, still compounding. It's still compounding. So I don't think I'll lose any money on this.
Now, what if people just stop like scrolling through the ads? What if they stop scrolling through Instagram? What if Instagram gets boring? What if Facebook gets boring?
I don't know. Unless you're saying TikTok is taking over some
respect,
maybe that.
My argument is just like these social media things, they could go away whenever. I think we all have to understand how vulnerable
it's been 20 years for Facebook.
But look, we've talked about this actually since Facebook like trounced, like decimated MySpace. What other major social media platform has been disrupted? I mean, other than Vine, which was Twitter, just got rid of it, right? But I mean, what else is really
nobody? No one's
it's really hard.
It's Twitter. Twitter's the other one, and they don't know how to monetize shit. So there you go.
Yeah. Twitter and Twitter doesn't even have half the daily active users that Facebook. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's 2 billion. What is it? 2 billion or 3 billion? I forgot what it was.
Facebook has 1.93, I think, billion monthly active. Twitter.
That's like Facebook itself. No, that's Facebook proper. All the properties I think are around 3 billion.
Yeah, and Twitter has 300 million daily actives. Facebook must be at like 700 million daily actives or something if they have 3 billion monthly actives. So Carlos, why don't you have Facebook?
Well, look, I was there. Day IPO. I was there. $5,000. I told them I was at Ogilvy and Mather. I was working at a job, and I said at 3 p.m. I'm stopping everything I'm doing. I got to put some money into Facebook, and I bought it at the IPO at $35, and I rode that up for a while, and I made some good money on it. It's not that I'm bearish. I'm not bearish on Facebook. I don't disagree with it. Like what Vitaly is saying, if that happens, it's going to be a fantastic return. I'm just saying that you can get that return somewhere else with a company that I would not feel comfortable with it. You know, I have a daughter, right? And you see the research out there. We know that social media is harmful to people. And we've seen Mark Zuckerberg in front of Congress enough times to know that there's something shady going on. You have the whistleblower. We're getting this information. Like let's not kid ourselves. This is not a good company. It's not like a Tesla where they get up in the morning thinking, how can we make the world better? You know what I mean? That's not the goal there. And we have plenty of information from outside and even from the inside. So personally, I do feel like there's a certain karma to your money, right? If you
all this stuff you're talking about, does it translate to business like logic in terms of less use?
Yes, because yes. So that's the moral argument. Like personally, I feel like you are voting with your dollar. You're giving them money to do more of what they do. Having a daughter, seeing the impacts. I mean, you know what? I'm going to find another place to get my 3, 4, 5x. The bear case, if I have to make one for Facebook, is I don't think the metaverse is going to be a big thing. I don't think people want to walk around with VR glasses all day. I don't think Mark Mark's vision of me getting up in the morning and working out in VR, then going to a meeting in VR, then watching a movie with friends in VR. I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't see that as a thing that people want to do, especially now.
Let me follow up. If let's say the VR thing doesn't happen, Facebook still has 3 billion users. Where are they going? And where's the money going?
Facebook has 3 billion users, but they are having a hard time capturing the new generation from things like TikTok.
He's not wrong on that, Vitaly. You can't say he's
wrong. What
I'm
saying is the average age of the person on Facebook, the active user monthly, is getting older and older and older. And those old folks are not transitioning to VR. There's no next platform for them. And so the only way Facebook's going to work now is if they capture the young market in a new emerging market. It's doubly difficult because their old market, I think, is going to go away. And so I'm not as bullish on the metaverse. I actually think that when Apple enters the metaverse or whatever the VR world is, that's who I think is actually going to do it right. Because Apple right now they have everything. They have the tech, they have the built-in user base. I think they have a clearer path to do it. And
his argument is the competition is coming, which we keep talking about for Tesla.
No,
competition is coming.
Not the competition is coming because I don't think that Facebook, this metaverse, is going to take off. And to your point, because you like to say this a lot, that I use Facebook. Number one, Facebook is important for my business. Number two, I don't invest in gas companies.
Do you see? Guys, comment, please comment.
Let me explain. In my business, people need to check you, right? It's like having a LinkedIn page, right?
Yeah.
You just need to have that as
sort of resume. It's a virtual resume.
Social proof. You just need that. The other thing too is that is a way that some people communicate to get work. So in terms of the functionality of it, yes, it's there. Facebook will never make money off of guys like me that are using it to post things to get jobs. It's not. We're not the active user that they're looking for. That they're really
Carlos not scrolling through ads all day. At the end of the day, you got.
I'm not. I'm going in there to a group, sending something, and I'm out.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
The other part. Wait. The other part of it is I don't invest in say oil companies, but I need gas for my car. That's how I look at it. I need gas for my car, so I use it. But the moment I had the chance to, I got my solar, got my EVs, and I'm out. And the moment I don't need Facebook anymore, I'll be gone. No,
I get what you're saying. The monetization part is wrong because as soon as you're on Facebook, they know your location, they know what you like. Chris, I think you're in my new.
I'm going to sub to your channel.
Guys, go on Chris and say freelancer finance is legit. Go on Chris's channel. Freelancer finance is legit.
Hold on. That I gave one. This is two.
You got to give me one, man.
And it's
Come on.
3.
I agree. All right, Adam.
Well, no. This is my point.
Instagram.
But hold on. This is my point.
Then we got 4. Dave does.
There we go. He's winning.
Does agree with Carlos.
This is something we won't find the answer to for 5 years.
Yeah.
It's this is literally we have to wait 5 years to a decade for this to play out. The metaverse and all. This is not next year. This is not that kind of a bet. I'm actually okay. Let me give another little point. I'm okay waiting for. Sometimes I don't need a 10x in a certain stock. That's why I bought Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's my risk play, right? Facebook is not my risk play. Facebook is I know I'm never going to zero.
But you're saying it's a large cap you have exposure to that's less risky. But if Carlos is right on his analysis, that means that.
I think he's totally wrong on the analysis.
That could be on Google instead, which I think is a much more safer play than.
Well, I have Google too, by the way.
But you could have more safe.
Yeah, I have more Facebook. You're right.
Unless your average on Facebook is so low that it doesn't matter. But
yeah, I have more Facebook now because it's been beaten down more. So I was buying it heavier as it went down.
So 4 points.
Well, I'm not going to win this. There's a lot of haters for Facebook. So.
And I actually agree with Vitaly on
this. I secede.
Point very heavily. I mean. I don't think the metaverse is happening. I think the ads business is great, but damn it, if they have a couple quarters where people aren't scrolling as much as they are,
honestly, I think the investment in the metaverse really was he bet the company on this.
He's betting the farm.
He knows that if this doesn't work out, it's over.
No, he was on a podcast where he said, "I don't think Facebook should just be a collection of blog posts anymore." When he said that, it was on the Verge podcast in May 2021. I was like, "This motherfucker is done with this." He's done with it. He's on to the next thing, and either it's going to work or it's not going to work. Is that?
I want to make a point about Mark Zuckerberg. People have been saying he's going to fail for 20 years now. Literally, you can go back every couple of years. Facebook stock tanks 50, 60%. Take a look at the history of the chart and always recovers. So
Zucks is a shrewd operator. He's
a very shrewd operator.
I wouldn't bet against Zucks.
He's a smart dude. Okay. He destroyed 2 taller, cuter brothers, as we know. You
The-
forgot the guys who rowed boats.
The
Gemini
Winklevoss-
guys.
the Winklevoss
What are
twins.
the name? Winklewasses, yes.
Winklevoss, right? I'm saying he's a shrewd
fucked that
operator
man,
and has
wasn't
been
he?
for a long time.
Yeah.
So to discount everything he's done just because you don't like Facebook, it's like you're not an investor.
No,
honestly.
but here's the thing. Even if I believe that you could make that money somewhere else. It's like you could make good money if you invest in some oil companies, get your dividend. You could make money in companies that you don't
I don't
necessarily.
think Facebook is an oil
with their
company,
business
but
model.
okay, sure.
I'm just saying, like it's a personal. This is where it gets to a personal thing. Like,
Can't fail. He's a robot.
but actually, one of the things that sparked this conversation was a great interview that he did with Lex Friedman. See,
Mhm.
when he did that interview
That's a
with
good
Lex
interview.
Friedman, I watched the whole thing, and I
Me
saw
too.
I saw the human being software that they installed in Mark Zuckerberg, because he actually came off like a human being. And I think if he does more of that, I think that would help people. Because look, you are investing in the CEO. Like, I'm giving my money to Elon Musk, right? Because I believe he's going to execute. My worry is that if I give the money to Mark and he does execute, we're going to have a bunch of ruined generation that will not be able to connect in real life. And what are the effects of that on society? Like, I know that if Elon Musk succeeds, we have clean air. We might, we'll have clean air. They'll have UBI because the robots will be doing the work. We'll have, clean energy. You can just look, if this guy maximalist thinking, the world is a fundamentally much better place if he reaches his stated goals. If Mark Zuckerberg reaches his stated goals and we're all home all day in VR, like everywhere we go, I don't think that's
a stated goal. You're just
That's like
twisting
a-
words
that's
around.
amazing.
No,
Yeah.
but
You know what I
Vitaly,
mean?
that has to be they make money through ads in the metaverse. How do you monetize attention? People have to have their attention, their
You got to
time
be sitting there on this
in the
thing. all day.
metaverse, right? Like,
I agree, but right now, what's happening? There is a transition happening. If you're paying attention to it, the hardware. He's actually started a hardware business, and I think
Mhm.
someone put in your comments they should have done a phone business. Maybe that would have been good too. Like, they're in the hardware business now. Now they're monetizing. They're getting 30% of not ad revenue, selling the games, like the games that are coming in.
Mhm.
They get 30% of that income. So they're diversifying their business, so it's becoming bigger. And I think Mark wants to make that transition directly from ads to something bigger. That's what he's trying to do. I'm not saying ads are going away. I'm just saying he's increasing the scope of his business, and we should all be happier as investors. But a lot of investors are not happy yet. I think I will be totally fine with this investment. That's all I'll say. I think I'm done with Facebook. That's it.
If I have to look into my crystal ball, how I think it's going to work out is Facebook will build a base. But right now, I think the base is like those hardcore video gamers. That's what I really think the base of the.
Well, that's where it starts. Like
Right.
in internet, it started with porno,
Okay.
and for gaming systems, it starts with games. Yeah.
Sure. But I feel that the trajectory, the way it's going to go, the actual device that's going to be mass adopted will be when Apple enters the AR space. You have an Apple Watch. They've learned how to miniaturize these devices. They have the amazing battery tech. They have the best screens in the world, the Retina screens. All of their separate devices will come together in a headset that I think people will be able to wear, like what Google Glass was meant to be. I think, in other words, AR, not VR, is going to be the thing that blows up. It's a heads-up display in your car. It's you walking down
They're
the
working
street.
on AR too, by the way. I don't know if you saw
Okay.
it. They are working on AR.
Okay, but
hold
enough
on. Let's
say-
I'll give you that. Let's say you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
For the investors who are left in this podcast, by the way, let's say Carlos is right. And Apple competition is coming. They recently released, I think, 5 years from now. Congratulations, Apple. They take over AR and VR. There's an Android, and that's Facebook.
What you're saying for the
Android is not worth nothing. It is worth multiple billions of dollars,
That's
trillions at this point.
Oh, I'm
So
not saying
you're
it's
totally
not.
ignoring that there's a whole market and an ecosystem being built right now that they have, and someone's just going to come and take it. I mean, this is always the fallacy of like investing. That is way easier to say than do.
But hold on, Apple doesn't really have the largest market
When are you
share.
going to back me up,
Most of the-
Amit?
In most of the Apple doesn't have the largest market share in most of the businesses that they're really dominant. They don't sell the most cell phones in the world. They just have massive high margins. So they don't need to sell the same number of units as Oculus would. They're just going to have the sexy device that you put it on. It just works. It seamlessly integrates with your whole life. And I think that's why I think in terms of margins, they're going to win.
Okay, I think I lost this no matter what happens. By
Maybe.
the way.
No, the thing is, I agree with everything Carlos is saying. But the one thing that Vitaly's saying is, given the startup world that I come from, network effects, getting people in one place and keeping their attention, it's a winner takes all game. And the reason Facebook's been there,
winner take most,
winner take most, and it's very difficult. And I know, like, maybe you and me don't use Facebook that much anymore, but like, there's 2.5 billion people posting content daily, and as long as that's happening, it's not slowing down. And TikTok's great, But it's like those are short form videos that's not really connecting with your friends and your family, like your
And
memories.
it's Chinese company taking all our. I mean, like that's even worse.
Yeah, but just from a pure business perspective, like Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp, that three-headed monster is not going away. Now, I agree with you, Carlos. I don't give a shit about the metaverse, but just on pure ads, Facebook is trading like 20 times lower than it should be. It should be like a $600 stock when it's a $300 stock. After you do the numbers, they're doing a $70 billion cash buyback. So outside of the moral case, I think it's massively undervalued.
It's a 16 forward PE.
Yes, exactly. That's the number I was looking
It's insane. Anyone who doesn't understand money at all is not buying this. Anyone who does understand is buying this right now. You watch when all the institutional investors have made their doubles next year, they're all coming out. Yes, we love Facebook. We bought it, blah, blah, blah. There's an easy double there.
Yeah, but Facebook,
for investors, but hold on. Investors, I'm talking to investors now, not haters. For investors, you should really take a look. If you like money, I'm here for some money, buddies. I don't know what you're here for.
Oh, what I'm saying is, I forgot my point.
Yeah, there you go.
I think Carlos, you're right on the moral case. The problem is I don't know if the moral case translates to business here. That's the only thing I have.
Yeah.
Okay, you reminded me of my point. My point is the reason why they're only at a 16 PE is because of the moral case.
No,
I don't think people trust Mark Zuckerberg with their money. I don't trust him with my daughter's attention. I wouldn't trust him with my money. I don't trust the company. You know what I'm saying?
The people who control this are so much bigger than me and you as retail investors. They're institutions. They could care less about.
Yeah,
this
but they don't like their CEO. They don't like a CEO.
They're buying Halliburton right now. By the way, and all the energy stocks are shooting to the moon.
The CEO of Halliburton's not sitting in front of Congress like a robot every day trying to defend his basic system. Halliburton doesn't have whistleblowers coming out saying they're aware of what they're doing.
I think he's defending Halliburton.
I'm not defending him. I'm just saying, as an investor, an institutional investor, they've got way more to lose than us. Right. So are you going to want to put a substantial position? Any one day something could happen. Facebook's very vulnerable to attack in that sense.
I think right now you're right. I think right now it is.
They're really vulnerable to attack.
Hold on. That's where the opportunity lays. When Tesla was being shorted to oblivion and me and you were buying it at 200 pre-split, it was very vulnerable.
But it is really vulnerable. But I think what props that stock up is people's belief in Elon Musk. You've got these long-term holders who just believe in his mission.
You're right about this. The problem is 3 billion people, as you said, for your business, are using this daily. So Mark Zuckerberg could be the most evil person in the world. The problem is 3 billion people are using his shit to get shit done every day. That's just the problem.
Right, but it's not like Amazon where they can infinitely grow because they need the users. The users need to be
and that's where you've got somewhat of a bear case.
This is where I'm saying
that user growth declines, you've got a bear case. But
this
mark for that user growth.
The bull case on Facebook is like inversely proportional to the age of the users. There's a time frame. They must achieve this before the average age is so old that we start to see Facebook's revenue dry out. So I don't know.
I mean, honestly, okay, let's say you're right again. I'll say this last thing.
Also, if you guys think they're amazing, subscribe to their channel in the description right now. We're about to end it in like 2 minutes, so definitely check them out. Go ahead.
This is like debate class.
When you said that, when we first interviewed you, and you said that, when you said I was like a professional, like we said debating, I was like, oh man, I could talk to this guy forever. I like, it's like a martial art.
Right.
It really is a martial art. It's different styles, right? I love that debate. I really enjoyed that part of the conversation when we spoke to you the first time.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I think we're good with Facebook, honestly. I think I was right at the end.
Right. At the end of it, yeah. Right. Just short Facebook.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Okay. I'm going to tell you a story.
We don't have a Facebook page.
No
one has a Facebook page anymore, bro.
No. This is funny because like a month ago, Carlos calls me. You know what? I think we need a Facebook page.
I did. No, I did say that again.
Bro. He's like,
and then a week later, he tells me we could only use WhatsApp. By the way, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Well, we had to use WhatsApp because Vitaly, I needed to silo some of our conversations away from other things. But again, I look at it like it's like me saying if I buy a car, I need gas. Like this is just the way the world works now. Right. But I'd like to think that we're in a transition away from that.
Oh, that's nice.
Thank you.
I think the folks might be digging the vibe that we have here. It might be. I
kind of like the dynamic of 3 is always great. It always
especially when it's laid back, it's live. We don't have to worry too much and just let it flow. We might have to do this again. We might.
Why not, man? This is really fun. I gotta say.
Oh yeah.
I wish we could get the audience to participate somehow. I've always been thinking about the YouTube thing, but how do we get it more involved? How do we get like a bigger conversation going?
There needs to be a product where people can just go, like we can give them a link and they come live for like a couple minutes or something. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man.
All right.
Ton of
I'd
fun.
100% tune into you three again. 114 people Friday night, or not Friday night, Tuesday night.
Tuesday
still in the middle of the
Tuesday
work
night.
week.
It's worse, yeah.
12 a.m. on the East Coast, 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. on the West Coast. Thank you all for joining and spending your night with us over Netflix. I mean, that's a big deal what we're doing right now. 100 people are watching us over
It was
a
debate
show
and
that-
chill right now.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh no.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. Plug the pod. Oh, yeah. So you guys should be on the pod with us. Eventually, we'll get you there. A Palantir Weekly Review every Friday. Me and Chris Patel this weekend. We'll probably have Juan Palantrillion, if you guys know that guy. My audience knows him. He'll be on the channel. Friday night, 11 p.m. Austin, please do this again. Awesome. We definitely will be doing this again.
Thanks, Austin.
Link in the description. Check them out. Subscribe to them. Comment on their latest video. Amit is legit. And
It's coming out tomorrow morning, so there you go.
all right.
Yeah, right.
See you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.